At Boise State Public Radio, you can listen to all of our podcasts free of charge. We don't lock any episodes. We don't require subscriptions, nothing like that. But the truth is, although our podcasts are free to listen to, they're not cheap to make. A lot of time and resources go into bringing you the daily news on The Connector, statewide voices on Idaho Matters, and the long-form journalism in podcasts like Scandalized, Extremely American, and Mustang. That's why we're asking, if you can, please consider supporting Boise State Public Radio podcasts today. We have a lot of work planned for 2025. Yes, new podcasts, but none of it would be possible without the generous support of our listeners. Every gift matters, whether it's $5 or $50, whatever feels right to you. Head to our website, boisestatepublicradio.org, and click that blue donate button. If you're giving to support podcasts like the one you just hit play on, leave us a comment with your donation and let us know. Your support will help make sure these podcasts keep coming and remain free and accessible to everyone. Thanks so much for listening.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. It's Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. We've got a story on Ammon Bundy and how he's duking it out now in a Utah courtroom. We've got some labor news for those employed and those seeking work, and some pretty big news at the Boise Airport, which has to be one of the busiest places in Idaho this week with all of the holiday traveling. We've got that as well. It is Friday, the 20th of December, and here come today's stories. A bankruptcy judge in Utah will soon consider whether or not Ammon Bundy can get out of a $53 million civil judgment that he was ordered to pay, that after he defamed the St. Luke's health system 2 years ago. James Dawson reports.
St. Luke's objected to Bundy's bankruptcy application in October, saying he had maliciously and knowingly defamed the health group. Those are grounds lawyers for the system say to deny that part of his application. The case stems from 2022, when Bundy and his followers staged protests at 2 St. Luke's hospitals after police took a friend's grandchild in for medical evaluations. One protest caused the downtown Boise hospital to go into lockdown and forced ambulances to reroute to other locations. Aside from the $53 million judgment, this week Bundy updated his application to include more than $87,000 in back taxes he owes the IRS and the states of Arizona and Idaho. He wrote he hasn't paid income taxes since 2018 because they are used to, quote, destroy his family, friends, and countrymen. The bankruptcy judge will consider rejecting Bundy's request to lift the St. Luke's judgment on January 8th. James Dawson, Boise State Public Radio News.
Now to a new survey of Idaho teens. It shows vape use is increasing across the state. That's opposite of the national trend, and Troy Oppie has that story.
The anonymous survey of more than 600 Idaho teens showed that 1 out of every 3 had tried vaping. That's up from 1 in 5 in 2021. Boise's Rathbone Falvey Research conducted the survey. CEO Vina Rathbone says teens often try vaping for the first time in junior high.
Teenage girls we saw were more likely to do it much more frequently.
Rathbone says millennial parents who may not have seen much nicotine use in schools growing up might not realize it's making a comeback in Idaho schools right now.
It's my hope is that by sharing this data, more parents will have more conversations and more teens will just be a little bit more aware of the risks and dangers associated with vaping.
Survey results will be featured in public service announcements distributed by Idaho Public Television called the No Vape Campaign, which is funded in part by money vape companies have paid Idaho to settle allegations of illegally marketing their products to teens. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
This is the day that we will get the final Idaho jobs report of the year. The State Labor Department is slated to reveal the latest data on jobs. Specifically, it will be a snapshot of November. The latest unemployment rate was 3.7%. For those who are employed, their wages will be a topic of conversation at the State House today. In particular, lawmakers, part of an interim committee of the legislature, are considering compensation of state employees. A recent independent analysis found wages for state employees was behind the curve, but the state's retirement plan, Percy, continues to be a draw. Here's Janelle White, Interim Director of the State Division of Human Resources.
This year's study concluded that our average total compensation is 18.3% behind the public sector and 14.6% behind the private sector. The state offers a robust retirement and benefits package, especially in comparison to the private sector, and is our primary competitive advantage when recruiting for the same talent as other employers.
All that said, House Representative John Gannon of Boise says those PERSI accounts have been absent of cost of living adjustments.
Unfortunately for PERSI retirement, the retirees aren't getting COLAs, so they're about 12% behind because of inflation the last couple of years.
It is a full agenda of that committee. They will get a PERSI update and hear about insurance benefits for state employees. The committee convenes at the Capitol at 9:30 this morning. We are entering in what will absolutely be the busiest travel time of the year. Hundreds of thousands of Idahoans traveling this week and next. And one of the busiest, if not the busiest, spots has to be the Boise Airport. And that's where we took our microphones on Thursday. A pretty big day because they launched 2 new nonstop destinations yesterday. They are on Alaska Airlines, one to Bozeman, a first for the Boise Airport. That will be through the winter season. And then there is a new daily nonstop flight to Orange County.
1750. So Orange County departs at about 5:50 p.m.
How many days a week?
That one goes daily, year-round service. Okay. And then it returns back to Boise. We've got a 12:38 arrival time.
This is Shauna Samuelson, Air Service and Marketing Manager at the airport. And then there will be some even bigger news in January when Boise begins a new daily nonstop to Orlando.
So that flight actually starts in January. And yes, it's our first direct to Orlando, which is one of our targeted cities. So we're really excited about bringing that service to the community.
Is that Alaska?
That is also Alaska. That is a 3 times weekly flight. So we're flying on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday.
But as for right now, it is quite a mad dash at the Boise Airport this weekend.
Busy. Our busiest winter holiday travel is Friday, Monday, and then Monday, December 30th. And all throughout the holiday season, we're expecting about 220,000 people to come through the airport. So that is more than we had at Thanksgiving travel. So the winter holiday travel is going to be very, very busy.
And this is Jennifer Kronberg, Communications and Marketing Manager at the airport, who reminds us patience is the watchword.
So we really encourage passengers to bring their holiday cheer with them while they are getting ready to fly out of Boise this next couple of weeks.
And again, it's worth repeating, they're expecting 220,000 travelers over the next couple of weeks. And that is today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Monday. To stay in touch with the news between now and then, check out BoiseStatePublicRadio.org or download the free Boise State Public Radio app. And for now, thanks for listening.
We could all use a little help navigating the news these days. The Consider This podcast wants to give you a hand. 6 days a week, we'll help you make sense of the day's biggest news story and what it means for you in less than 15 minutes. Listen now to the Consider This podcast from NPR.